I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic, and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans. And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field. Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum. From the Northwest Bank Studios, it's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
It's time. Welcome into Williams and Blum on a Wednesday. Vibes are a little higher today on Williams and Blum than they were Sunday. Understandably so. The Cyclones have a new coach. We've gotten to meet him. The staff has fallen into place, and we've got two massive nights of college basketball at the Mecca. Blum, I know you didn't go to West Lafayette. I didn't go either, and it feels unfair to judge by the TV. But there was a point in that game on Saturday when Purdue cut the lead from like 16 to 10.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yep.
And I'm expecting, here's where it's going to get rowdy. And then you see all the donors, all the geezers in the front row still sitting. I'm like, yeah, don't
We're
ever
done.
put this in the conversation with Hilton Coliseum ever again in my life.
How excited is everybody to get to Hilton this week? It's going to be like the catharsis.
It's going to be one of the most unique atmospheres.
I agree.
Because you've got obviously Iowa, so that adds a hint of anger. There's still a bit of the sadness and the grieving process.
Sure.
With Matt Campbell. Everyone's excited to meet Coach Rogers. Will be introduced.
He's going to have to probably come to the men's game at least, right?
Yeah, hopefully they do both.
Maybe both. I think it could be a darn near sellout tonight for the women's game, by the way.
Yeah, it's the first. I mean, for both teams, it's the first real game at home so far this season. So I can't wait for Jada Williams and Killian Torrey to get to experience that.
Great point.
Specifically.
Do you think the weather's going to hold anybody back? No.
It shouldn't.
No.
It's not
windy. Just
not
a little windy.
Morehead State or Houston Christian coming to town. I mean, the teams might as well be on the caliber of Houston Christian, but
yeah, it's gonna be. I'm excited to be up there both nights and ready to go. But yeah, I think the last couple of days has been really positive, and I think you're seeing everything calm down a little bit, and then everybody just kind of moving forward and like, you know what, we're Iowa Staters. We've been through a lot. Let's take the next step, and you know, from all angles with the football staff, it's really coming together nicely.
Oh yeah,
and it's exciting because I think, you know, just from the messages after watching Coach Rogers' press conference, which I thought was great, and then seeing the staff come together, you can really start to see the puzzle pieces of what the strategy is, and I think it's a really, really smart strategy and excited for what's ahead.
We're here courtesy of Mechdyne. Chris Williams, admittedly, is having one of the busiest weeks of his entire life, and he has meetings all day. He's in a meeting right now, so figured he'd just throw me in the fire, and I get to hang out with Blum for an hour.
They wanted the hoops guy on, which, you know, who could blame him?
I was on Ken Palm way too much last night. I was on Bart Torvik a little bit too. We'll get into that.
We'll get into all that, yeah.
We'll get 45 minutes in the show before we get into that, so our great fanatics don't have to deal with all the analytical talk. But we're gonna lead with the reports of a new offensive coordinator coming to Ames, and it's a familiar face. Tyler Roll comes reportedly courtesy of the of the Detroit Free Press, leaves after one season as the tight ends coach for the Detroit Lions to return to Ames, where he was the running backs coach in 2024, a year that saw Carson Hansen specifically take a jump. He also helped recruit River Peppers, also helped recruit Iowa State's top commit in the class of 2026, Caleb Francois from Minnesota, the Minnesota Player of the Year. By all accounts, I mean, short of Taylor Mauser or short of Mike Leach being raised from the dead, like this to me seemed like almost best case scenario as far as player retention, a familiar face, and a guy that has proven it being the play caller for 2 national championships at North Dakota State. I love the hire of Tyler Roll.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's you just got to at the end. He's also been an offensive coordinator, at North Dakota State where he won national championships. So, when Tyler came down for 2024, I remember talking to some of the other staff members like, that guy eats nails. And I think that's kind of be the motto of this new staff in way of Iowa State football is they're not going to lose an edge. And what separated, if you listen to what other coaches said about Iowa State football over the last 8-9 years was Iowa State's just going to be tough. They're going to be physical, and they're going to keep coming. And honestly, just based on what I know about this staff, starting at the top, it's the same philosophy. And I think when you're talking about the upper Midwest and the way Iowa State's what it takes to win at Iowa State, I think it's perfect. And Tyler's well respected. I thought it was a great move for him to go get some more experience. Now come back as an offensive coordinator, bridges the divide a little bit, but also clearly Tyler coached against a lot of these guys when they're at South Dakota State. And so he wouldn't be coming back here if he didn't think he could be successful. I mean, Tyler's a riser. So for him to choose to do this, I think it really, to me, it sets a lot of belief in the vision of what's ahead here. And super pumped for him. Good dude. But again, I think Iowa State's going to be tough nose, man. Like it's clear the philosophy's not going to be the air raid, unfortunate to Chris Williams. But it's going to be physical, run it right at you. It's 35 degrees in Jack Trice Stadium. We're going to keep going at you. And I think Tyler was a huge part, him and Clanton both, of kind of revitalizing that Iowa State run game starting last year and carrying over to this year. And I think you could see a lot of the same. And then you start talking continuity, Jake. That relationship with Carson Hansen and Abu Sama is huge. So there's a lot of respect there. And I give kudos to Coach Rogers for, he hadn't worked with Tyler before. Obviously, they knew of each other, but kind of bridging that gap and super smart hire. And I think strategically really good, football-wise really good. And then everybody has a great respect for Tyler up there on campus. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, so this is going to be a run-heavy offense. A lot of those creative Maryland I formation on the goal line sets that we saw in the 2024 season, a lot of that came from Coach Roll.
Yes.
And it again, it's the upper Midwest. It's be tougher for longer, run the ball up the middle, and it's our best against your best. And I'm really excited for that. It's honestly probably going to be a pretty similar, if there's a Big 12 team to compare it to, it's probably BYU. And that's I think BYU, that's a fun team to watch. Coach Roll, looking back a little bit, definitely utilized the running quarterback quite a bit in his time at North Dakota State. So they're not going to be Army. I don't want people to be misled by this, but it's going to be more. It's going to be more run heavy than I think Cyclone fans have been used to for the last decade.
But honestly, though, Jake, if you look at this year, it was 57-43 run pass this year. So it was really run heavy this year as well. Mm-hmm. Now you're not going to see it the old, the Brock Purdy throw it 45 times. We're not going to see that, but this is why I think this staff is pumped with what Iowa State already has on campus at the quarterback position. Obviously, Rocco's an interesting case. He's a senior, but if you start talking about long term, I think they feel with Moberly and Mansky. I mean, there's a couple guys that fit into that style really well already with their ability to run the ball out of the quarterback spot, big physical kids. So, yeah, this isn't going to be Army or the triple option or anything, but I think it's gonna be a lot like what you saw this year, where it's gonna be run. You better stop the run against Iowa State, or they're gonna keep doing it. I mean, I think that's the philosophy. And you look at what North Dakota State did over the years, South Dakota State over its rise with Coach Rogers. It was a mix, but it was all predicated on being physical and tough. And I think that's with what he did, what Coach Rogers did at Washington State with that group of 60 new guys or whatever they had, Jake, and to finish top 20 in defense is incredible. The more I look at them, the more I watch this week, it's like, holy crap. I think that, I don't want to say it's plug and play, but if Iowa State can keep a lot of those defensive guys, and I think those conversations have been positive so far this week, then Iowa State's going to be really tough defensively. Now, you're probably not going to have the Brock Purdy era, 40 to 35 games necessarily. I don't think that's the way to go anyway. But this team's going to be balanced, and you're not going to see a drop at all in physicality. I don't think there's any question.
There's also been reports of two different defensive minds coming over, one of them being Jesse Bobbitt, who is the Washington State defensive coordinator. He's serving as the interim for the Cougars in their bowl game. And the other rumor is Ross Watson, who was co-defensive coordinator at Toledo, a key piece in developing Quinyon Mitchell, first-round draft pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. You combine those two with Coach Rogers, who himself is in a way also a defensive coordinator. And from what I've read from some Wazoo and South Dakota State fans, it kind of sounds like Rogers just kind of gives the keys to the offensive staff and, hey, go do your thing. And he's a defensive guy. So you've almost got three defensive coordinators if the staff plays out as it's been reported. And that's super encouraging, and it would make sense if they were able to retain maybe more of the defensive guys than we initially thought if you've got those proven names coming over.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be a fun system for those guys to play in. If I'm talking about a Cooper Ebel, a Caleb Bacon, a Bo Goodwin, a Drew Surgis, all those safeties, this is going to be fun for them to play in. Now, obviously, this is modern college football. Those guys are going to all have other opportunities. And
Absolutely.
Again, I don't know compensation-wise, Iowa State, but I do, like I mentioned it Sunday, this isn't Iowa State, scratching and clawing with pennies here. Iowa State will have $14 or $15 million to spend for next year. So, let's get that out there. So it's not like these guys are going to be taking quote-unquote pay cuts like maybe in the past when the collective era was, because you just couldn't get the rev share money, essentially. So all that being said, I do think Iowa State financially will be able to at least give it a really good shot for these guys. I think strategically and philosophy, these guys will fit in really well with the system. Now it's a matter of, for those guys, for those returners, to retain them, relationships with the coaches, other opportunities. We'll see where they go, but as far as 3 days into the era, I couldn't be more excited for the moves that have been made to do everything. And also, what I'm hearing behind the scenes, Jake, a lot of coordination, which I think is pretty cool, between previous staff and current staff to understand, hey, what works at Iowa State, who are, player-wise, what should we expect? And, John Haycock and Eli Rashid have still been on campus trying to help out. And I think that's important to know that, you can see all the drama and all this stuff, but behind the scenes there has been a lot of collaboration. What I would say, and even Matt Campbell referenced it in his full-page ad in the Register today, a lot of mutual respect between these two staffs. And as Matt said in that full-page ad, Jimmy Rogers is a heck of a coach. And I don't think from all of my people I've talked to in the college sports realm, unaffiliated with Iowa State, they think Iowa State got a real winner in Jimmy Rogers. And now the hope is, by making all these moves quickly, you can kind of retain this group, put the pieces together. And then the other thing I'm excited for, Jake, is with the potential Toledo connections and the Washington State connections, even if Iowa State does lose some of its players, and it's going to. Listen, it's going to happen. Don't panic when Iowa State loses a lot of its high-end guys here over the next 3 weeks. But you'll be able to hopefully replenish to a point a lot of those folks with, honestly, new era of college football, players from other schools that they bring with them.
Well, and there's also the aspect. Don't come. There's been a couple of players that have followed me on Twitter, so that's a positive sign. I'll leave it at that.
Not currently on the Iowa State roster.
Not currently on the Iowa
Okay,
State roster.
Got it.
Coming from maybe the MAC or the Pac-2. But so Ross Watson, this alleged future defensive coordinator at Iowa State, or co-defensive coordinator,
maybe, yeah.
He played at Mount Union. So there's this weird triangle going on, and we all know Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell's awesome. Matt Campbell's also the king of coach speak. So when he says, like, yeah, we're going to do anything we can to leave Iowa State better than we found it, it's like, okay, yeah. But I think you're seeing right now that that's true.
Yeah.
Like, there is a real, I don't know how well him and Coach Rogers know each other, but there clearly is mutual respect, and there is some weird triangle going on right now between some of the connections between Coach Roll and I don't know if you saw this, but the Iceborg, Zach Borg, uncovered video.
I did see that.
Of Jimmy Rogers stuffing Tyler Roll in a 2007 or 2008 South Dakota State, North Dakota State game on 4th down. So these guys go way back, and there's a lot of connections that I think it's just going to be really fun to cover in the future.
One thing, I know we're getting some questions. I want to clarify. John Haycock is not going to be back on the staff, but he is here for now to help with essentially managing the transition for the new staff. And by the way, it is not clear yet. I know there's been reports that Haycock's going to go to Penn State. That has not been confirmed. In fact, I don't
know if it's going to happen.
I don't know if it will either. So I'm just saying that is not out there. And then I mentioned Eli Rashid is still around, again, to help. Coach Rashid is also, I don't believe, announced what his intentions will be. I don't know. I don't think he'll be back at Iowa State either, necessarily. But, again, this is why these are still humans, and they want the best for the current players. And so I guess the point is it's not like the Iowa State players are directionless here. They've got some folks here trying to help out to bridge the gap, because at the end of the day, I think, when emotions calm down a little bit, everybody wants the best for Iowa State, and the players that the former staff recruited, still a lot of love and care there, and everybody wants the best here.
It's also worth noting that if it were up to Campbell, he wouldn't have left Friday. Like, if it were up to Campbell, he probably would have stayed through the bowl game, done this like any other sport. And same goes for those assistants, but if you want to be on that new staff, you got to get to work right away. And these guys have lived in Ames for a decade. John Haycock has been in Ames for a decade. Same with Eli Rashid. These guys are a part of this community, and if we have no idea what's next for them, but if they're not following Campbell to State College, they're probably not in a rush to move out of their house, sell their house.
Well, that's the thing. There's the logistics side, too, that you have to deal with, is relocating on the drop of a dime when nobody was really expecting it. So, yeah, all those decisions will be made. But I guess behind the scenes, it's been really nice to see everything working together. And again, at the end of the day, it's for the players. And everybody cares about the players and wants the best for them. And I think that's been evident over the past couple of days.
Yeah, I just saw a comment saying that it was 100% Campbell's choice, and I agree. It was Campbell's choice to leave. It was not Campbell's choice for the system to be what it is.
I mean, again, there's no doubt that he was going. It's just, you wonder if the schedule was a little bit different like the NFL, and you could wait till the end of the regular season. Anyway, that's water under the bridge, and it's not like it was going to stop Matt from going to Penn State.
If you made it through these last 5 days, congratulations. If you did it without going to Hopewood first, not very smart. If now you know it's time to go to Hopewood, I felt that a couple times over the last few days. Like, man, I probably should go get my will done. The camping out in the Jacobson building for 15 hours on Friday, and
well, yeah, and you were looking for a sandwich, and it was like, can somebody get Jake Brend a sandwich?
I got one. I went and got some Jersey Mike's, and it was
not sponsored.
It was delicious. Not a sponsor. I would
not sponsor
if they would like to sponsor.
No, between Hope and Jeff Wood, both sent me really nice messages this week, which is appreciated. Again, this is the people you're working with, and Cyclones working with Cyclones, great people.
Yeah. Absolutely. Gravitate co-working as well.
That's my guy Jeff Wood.
Yep. The husband, wife, they're They both sponsor here with Cyclone Fanatic, and this is for people who work from home and need a spot to go. Need a spot to get out of your office, especially, gosh, on a day like today. I'm sitting in my home office, my bedroom, and my room is shaking. I would love to be in a real office right now. So
this is a good day where it's nice to talk to a fellow human being too. I mean, That's the nice thing about co-working space. You could go have a cup of coffee with somebody.
We appreciate Hope Wood and Grab to Co-working. We did have a question that is the Toledo guy been rumored to get a job at Syracuse? So Toledo had co-defensive coordinators. The other one that's not Watson has been rumored to go be the defensive coordinator at Syracuse. So hopefully
you're more plugged in right now than me. Are you confident on the Watson stuff in Iowa State? I mean, it seems pretty.
It came from
a pretty good source.
The football
scoop.
Yeah, the football scoop, which has been pretty reliable.
Yeah.
So that's the rumor, and he may or may not have followed me on social media. So that seems to be a decent indication.
That's the public sphere. You can share that. Absolutely.
Well, Elon tried to make that. I guess, yeah, you can still check followers.
You can't check followers. You can't check likes. You can't check likes anymore, which is fine.
Well, I think that's all we've got from a football perspective. Did you have anything from the opening press conference you wanted to hit?
No, I just thought it was great. It was exactly what I heard about Coach Rogers when he was hired. I had a friend text me that this guy doesn't stop working, was the quote. And he's just, like he said at the end, he's like, all right, I've talked to you guys enough. I got to go get to work. And this is the type of guy that this staff's going to be. They're going to just be hard workers, disciplined, all that good stuff. It's going to fit great with the Iowa State fan base. And I thought he handled it great. And that is a tough spot to walk into. You have to acknowledge that. I mean, there was a lot going on. And for him to walk in there with humility and give credit to the previous staff while also saying, I want to win here. I came here to win. I thought he hit all the right notes. As mentioned, even talking about his what was it, the RBF, his resting face, which again, I just think there's a lot of traits there, a lot like a Paul Rhodes was, where this guy's gonna fit in really well with his fan base, and to me, Jake, that's why I wanted to come here to begin with. Clearly he's from Arizona, but clearly built his reputation up here in the upper Midwest. He knows what it takes, and I'm really pumped up for like this hybrid North Dakota, South Dakota State, little Toledo action, get a little Wazoo. I think that system is clearly really successful, and you pair those things with a budget, with a Power 4 budget, and I really like how this pieces really add up here. So yeah, I was just pumped. I thought hit a lot of great notes and excited for the Coach Rogers era.
If there ends up being any sort of Drake connection to any of this. So there's the 2018, the quad, where I guess the NCAA tournament a couple of years ago. There was the pod in Omaha, Iowa State, South Dakota State, Washington State, Drake.
Oh,
we were like, where have we seen this before? And then you look back, the 2018 football season.
Oh my God!
South Dakota State game gets canceled, replaced with Drake. You play Washington State in the bowl game. I'm like, I knew I've seen those four schools together, and now you've got Iowa State, Drake, Iowa State, Washington State, South Dakota State together. So, who knows?
Who is it? Oh, well, Kyle Kemp.
There's an obvious name. We'll see. We are not reporting this.
Not reporting that.
There's honestly not even a solid rumor to base that off of, other than a past connection. Kempt had a really good year as first year of OC at Drake under Coach Woodley.
There's no question Kyle Kempt will be an offensive coordinator at the power level at some point in his career. So yeah, I mean, he's still young though, obviously. It's funny. I called the Drake game in 18 with Sage
from a
car basically. But I was calling the game, the South Dakota State game. So I had remembered preparing for, that staff and Coach Rogers, who was, I don't even think he was the D coordinator at the time. I think he was
linebackers coach.
He was the linebackers coach. But that was the Lightning game. You remember where it was the first series?
Oh, I remember all too well. Deshaunte Jones.
I remember calling the Deshaunte Jones touchdown. We come back from break, and it's just the game has been paused, and we sat there forever. Oh. and the game eventually got canceled.
Our family's got a tailgating bus, and I remember laying in that bus for like 6 hours.
Just like
Didn't the game kick off at 2:30?
No, it was.
Was it an afternoon kick
nope.
or was it a night game?
It was a sixer.
6
It was
o'clock.
a sixer,
Okay.
I think. I think it was 6.
I just remember it was way too late, and there were people talking. Can we play tomorrow?
Yeah, they because at the same time, this is coming back to me now, because I stayed there till like 1 in the morning. They're like, well, if the game starts, we're gonna have to still call the game, even if there's nobody on, even at the game anymore. But Nebraska had the same situation because there's a big lightning storm across the Midwest, and at one point they were gonna play the next day. Now they ended up, abandoning that as well. So there was some thought. I remember really well of like, well, do you just send these guys to the hotel? But they're like, South Dakota State doesn't have a hotel. They already checked
They're
out.
going to go back.
They checked out of all their rooms already. So anyway, it's crazy how time is a flat circle.
I covered the Iowa-Nevada game that had the same deal, 3 different lightning delays,
Yes.
ended at 4:30 in the morning. Imagine doing that while also having to cover Spencer Petras. That was miserable. We've got time. We'll move on to basketball.
Speaking of the Hawks,
We'll move on to basketball real quick, though. A question about the transfer portal. So in the new era, Bloom, you can
I'm still
correct me
confused
if I'm
by all
wrong,
this, but go ahead. Yeah,
but what I've read is that after a coach leaves, after a new coach is hired, 5 days after, players can start to enter the portal, and then it's open for 15 days. Which would leak or almost lead into the January 2 normal portal.
Yeah, I was incorrect.
That's how
on
it
that.
reads.
Yeah, I was incorrect on because there's so much going on here. So yes, there is going to be essentially here for the Iowa State guys. There'll be 2 separate portals, and it's going to be an active couple weeks. I just would encourage people, don't panic. It doesn't mean the sky is falling. This is going to happen. This is what happens in 2025 and 2026. In college football when you have a coaching change. But you're going to see movement both ends, and it's going to be active. It's going to be super active. So, and it's good. And then honestly, Jake, some of the players that transfer out, it's not just their choice sometimes too. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a reason why some college coaches, I'm not going to put them all in the same bucket here, don't want multi-year contracts for players because they want the ability to, if you have a miss, to replace them, to upgrade that. And so all that being said, yes, you're going to start seeing activity as soon as this week. And but don't panic. It's natural, but you're going to see it both ways.
Thanks to Farm Story Meats for bringing us Williams and Bloom Wednesday. Go to farmstorymeats.com. They have all their meat bundles. December 14th is the final day to order to have it arrive on or before Christmas. So, before Christmas, farmstorymeats.com. They also sponsor the Beat Reporters that I co-host with Rob Gray and Ben Hutchins. It's a locally owned business with locally raised, locally butchered, locally everything for their incredible meat, and it's the place you got to go. farmstorymeats.com. The McFarland Clinic has had a busy last couple of weeks. Can imagine what Dr. Wormy and Dr. Greenwald go through when you have all these nagging injuries from players that they play through, and then they hit the postseason and are like, all right, let's get this figured out. They've been busy. If you need maybe not surgery on your knee, but just a physical or anything in between, McFarland Clinic is your place.
Yeah, and then and this is the great part too, is people like Dr. Wormy, obviously Dr. Greenwald is going to retire, but those folks don't go anywhere. And there's the continuity between the videos. Like there's still a lot of Iowa State football support staff that is still going to be around, and the medical staff is one of the key reasons. I'm not talking about strength and conditioning, but I'm saying the medical staff, those guys are here. They're not following Matt to Happy Valley. So grateful for Dr. Wormy, Dr. Greenwald, and the new soon-to-be doc, Dr. Leland, is coming on board.
Ooh. Go to McFarland Clinic for
That's
all
right.
of your medical needs. Let's do some hoops. Number 10, number 11, Iowa State hosts Iowa in women's basketball tonight, 6 o'clock on ESPN, and they're sending in the A-team. Ryan Ruccolo, I can never remember how to say his name, and Rebecca Lobo on the call on that one. Rucco. And then the men's game. The men's game, Thursday night, 7 o'clock, FS1. Steve Prohm not on the call, in case you were wondering.
Who is it?
I'd have to go look.
It's not Raf? Is it Raftery?
It's not Raftery. It didn't catch my eye quite like the women's basketball A-team coming through.
Yeah, that's great.
But both massive opportunities. Of course, Iowa State's the number 4 team in the country right now in men's, and then you're getting a top 11 matchup in women's basketball in it. I don't know how much you guys have been following the Big 12 so far in women's basketball. It's a little down. This isn't alarming. Iowa State's not going to be on the bubble or anything. But when you get to March and you're looking for a 2 seed and you're competing potentially against Iowa or potentially against a Big 10 team, Iowa is going to have more opportunities for some more marquee wins, which makes tonight even more important, I think, for Iowa State to pull that off, because they're just not going to have a ton of opportunities against top 15 teams this season.
Great point. Yeah, and so why? So I think the average fan like, well, good. That means we're going to win a lot of games. Yes. However, when you start talking about being a 1 or a 2 seed or a 3 seed, they're going to look at who you beat.
This isn't saying what can you get in the tournament. This is it's what we talked about with the Purdue game on Saturday. Games like this where you could very well be competing for this team for a seed line, or for not necessarily in the case of women's basketball, a location. These are so important.
Well, and then you start talking about hosting, too. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, Iowa State, because you're right, the Big 12's going to be a little down. It's not going to be the same level. So, obviously, Iowa State was in good shape as of December 10th to host, meaning you're a top 4 seed for the NCAA tournament. However, games like this are really important if you want to be a 2 seed. You want to maybe get into the 1 seed line, because Iowa State's just not going to have as many opportunities to beat top 10 teams or top 11 teams. So, huge game for them, not to mention, you know, it's a Cyhawk game. Iowa State's dropped 2 in a row against these guys, 3 in a row. So
2 in a row.
Is it 2 in a row?
Beat him Caitlin's
senior year? Junior year. Yes,
I believe.
Yes. It's all kind of runs together.
It was her sophomore year. So Maggie Espen-Miller McGraw was still in the Cyclones.
That was the
hometown friend.
Emily Ryan, Ashley Jones.
Absolutely. Yep. Lexi Donarski.
But yet, regardless, huge game for both. And I think for specifically this Iowa State women's basketball team, it's because Iowa State men just beat number 1 Purdue. Like, we know what they are, and that is a legit Final Four contender. The Iowa State women have a nice win, and they've destroyed everybody. They beat a really good Indiana team by double figures. But this is the first real test against a ranked team. And so I think for this group, a group that really struggled, honestly, Jake, against ranked teams a year ago, this is a huge opportunity for them in Hilton against Iowa with all the extracurriculars. I mean, I can't remember a December game for the Iowa State women this kind of important in a long time. And I know it's not to put pressure on them. Iowa State's going to be fine regardless, but it's just what it means for me is it's going to be an awesome atmosphere. I was just on StubHub this morning, Jake. It's hard to find a ticket.
That's awesome.
The tickets are like $200
That's
to get
amazing.
in right now. So, just really excited. I think, as you said earlier, for like a Jada Williams, a Reese Beatty, and some of these, and even honestly, Audie and Addie, they've seen Hilton at its best, but it's not going to be. I don't think it's been this good in a long time tonight. I'm telling you guys, if you can get there, because it's going to be electric in there tonight.
The line, as I'm seeing it on ESPN right now, Cyclones favored by 2.5. So about as close to a pick'em as you can get.
Yeah, and you're looking at Iowa, they guard. They defend really well. Bigs are super athletic. I'm curious that the Crooks versus the Iowa Bigs matchup. Obviously, Crooks and Stolke have been going at it for 3 years now. Stolke's really mobile. And then they got the new big kid who's really athletic as well. So Iowa's going to play 10 players, and they're going to go up and down. I think philosophically it's going to be unique. Can Iowa State keep pace with Iowa? If I'm Iowa, I'm trying to run Iowa State.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to honestly tire out Iowa State's bigs and see if that can work with its athletic bigs. So I think it's a fascinating deal. And then honestly, the other part, Jake, here is foul trouble on both sides. If those bigs for Iowa get in foul trouble, woof, look out. But
and
also
she's been known to do that from time to time.
But if Audie gets in foul trouble, you lose a big weapon, obviously.
Right.
So that's always going to be a concern with Iowa State this year is Brown and Crook staying out of foul trouble. And then how does Jada Williams handle the moment? There's going to be a lot of eyes on her today, a lot of eyes on her, and she's been great so far. And she's a primetime player, but excited to see how she performs on this stage. That's why she came here.
That's why she chose Iowa State over Iowa.
That's right.
And they're going to be hungry too, because they're going to feel slighted that Williams took a quote unquote pay cut to go to the other school. And it looks like she made the right decision so far. She's got to go prove it on Wednesday night.
She definitely visited Iowa. There's no doubt. So I mean, there's maybe some revisionist history there of what did they give her, what they offer, what they didn't. But regardless, there's gonna be a little extra. Jada's emotional as it is, and I think that passion has really helped this Iowa State team. It's gonna be on display tonight. I mean, you're gonna see. I'm honestly, again, I'm excited for the men's game. I really am, because anytime you can watch this Iowa State men's basketball team play now, it's must watch entertainment. But this women's game, I haven't been excited for a Cy-Hawk women's game like this in a while.
I cannot wait. It's gonna be incredible, and I can't imagine Jada Williams has ever played in an atmosphere like she's gonna see tonight at Arizona. I know she's played in Hilton before, but we all know Hilton doesn't get up for a brand new Big 12 team as much as they do for the team out east.
No, and even Audie and Addie, I'm excited for them too. Those players haven't seen something like they're going to see tonight.
Yeah, it was really cool their freshman year when they went toe to toe with Caitlin during her senior year.
Good point.
But again, there was probably a lot more Iowa fans in the building that night than there's going to be tonight, because that senior year for Caitlin was an outlier.
It was like the Beatles.
It was different. It was. That's not going to happen tonight. There'll be your fair share of Hawk fans, but.
And I just love, honestly, guys, I love this is on national TV with Ruocco and Lobo, because this is going to get massive attention. It really will, and that is great, phenomenal for Iowa State. Phenomenal for Iowa State to be on national television for its women's basketball program, and well deserved, by the way. It's been fun to see for me, not only Audie Crooks, but Addie Brown, Jada Williams starting to get their well-due recognition here.
You want to hear a stat that Cyclone Larry 69 texted me last night?
You can Cyclone Larry 69 actually has a phone?
Supposedly.
Yes.
There have been 9,360 teams during the Ken Palm era. As of right now, the 2025-26 Iowa State Cyclones rank as the 14th best of all time in that span.
Wow. Now that's a stat.
Yeah.
Why don't we just close down the show?
I'm really excited for this Iowa State men's basketball season, and specifically this game against Iowa. But it is getting in the territory of the numbers are so good that I'm getting a little worried. But then I listened to Otzelberger and Taman and Torre talk in the press conference on Tuesday. And Taman essentially said that, yeah, Hilton can be on fire, but we kind of ignore it. And I believe them. Yep. I think anyone can say next game, it's another day, it's next practice. But I truly think that TJ Otzelberger is such a psychopath in the best way possible, that he truly instills in this team, in his staff, to play the exact same no matter what. And I think that's why you saw them step into a hostile atmosphere and beat the brakes off of Purdue for 40 straight minutes.
That's why it's very calculated of we're not relying on emotion and everything to win. It's a system. I mean, they from June on, they're getting up at 6 a.m. and just grinding. And yeah, when you're doing it, I laughed after the one of the games in Vegas, and the guys were talking to the Turner crew, and they're like, and they're saying, yeah, we do MMA training and all sorts of stuff, and that's why like things get hard. But I would say just like the noise is it's not an issue for them, so it's gonna be fun, man. Like they're locked in, ready to go. But I do have some concerns as a statistical guy about the regression to the mean.
Yes.
Like this is not the way Iowa State has shot the three ball.
It can't
keep going. It's just not possible. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have a team full of Curtis Joneses and Milan Momcilovic's. It's not possible. What is Iowa State? 58% from three and a large volume over the last 4 games? Like that is not possible. That is not going to continue. You just hope it's not like the Creighton exhibition game where it all goes the wrong way at the same time. But at the same, I say that, Jake. I mean, Milan's getting some great looks, and he's making all of them. But I think they've done a great job with him, utilizing his skill set to find him open looks too. Like, give Nate Schmidt and that coaching staff some credit here for giving him the right looks. And Milan, if you go to practice, this is what he does. Like what you've seen in the last 3 games for that guy, that's every day in practice. And so it's just some of the other stuff. I don't envision Iowa State as a team. Killian's made a lot of them in a row here. I don't envision him continuing to grow as much as he has as a shooter. Obviously, Bateman is a great shooter. I believe this Iowa State team will settle into the high 30 percentile 3-point, not 57%. And so you just wonder when that happens. The good news here is Iowa State's team is not built like the Fred team just based on the 3 ball.
Exactly.
It's defense. And so when defense is as good as it has been and you're throwing the ball in all the time, that's when you beat number 1 ranked teams on the road by 25 points. What's going to happen is Iowa State's going to slow down a little bit on 3-point shooting. Defense will be what it is, and maybe only win a game at home by 10 points.
Right. And there is the element. The efficiency has to go down, but the volume doesn't necessarily have to go down.
Facts. Exactly.
Iowa State's not going to go 22 of 30 again this season.
No.
But they very well could go 12 of 25 again.
Yeah,
they very well
absolutely.
could go. They very well could have a night where they're 11 of 33 and you're still making 11 threes. That is still a better outcome, even if you're not shooting at a 70% clip like it seemingly has been the last few weeks.
And then what I thought has been really good, different than a year ago, was Buchanan's ability around the rim has greatly improved. Even that little floater he has.
Yeah.
Takes enough attention away where, and then Jefferson's the good weight he's put on this offseason has been huge. He can be a bully now. You know, he's got a little Royce White in him of like, I'm going to dribble right at you and you're not going to be able to stop me. And when he does that, it collapses everything around him. And then guess what? Who's open? Milan or Taman or Nate for a 3. And I just think this team is really well put together. It is just really hard to stop right now because the pieces fit. So yeah, the volume won't go down. The percentages will. It's just Iowa State's ability to get to the free throw line as well with Jefferson and even Adam Nelson is another tool in the tool belt that teams that have Iowa State past didn't have. I just think this team is so well rounded. Here's all caution though. Okay, I'm not going to be the downer today. But Iowa State was pretty well. We talk about this. We talked about it all summer. Iowa State was always going to get off to a fast start this year because it brought back its 4 best players.
Yep.
Everybody else is going to get better as the year goes on because mostly now there are some teams who we retained a lot too, but a lot of these teams are newish, growing together, and so they're going to get better as the year goes on as they get some more continuity, between transfers, freshmen, yada yada. So Iowa State's still going to be very good, but I do think teams will quote unquote catch them as the year goes on. So it's not time to get complacent. Like, you still got to continue to get better. This is absolutely a Final Four contending team. If all goes well, you stay healthy. But all these other teams, like it did last year, are going to get better. I thought it was interesting. It was looking around at some stuff, and the over/under for Iowa State's win total in conference play, Jake, is 13.5, which, yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of respect for Iowa State out there. I just know
to 18 conference games this
Correct. So I'm just saying, like, the Big 12 is still going to be a grind. I know Iowa State just destroyed the number 1 ranked team. But the Big 12 night in, night out, when you start getting beat up, it's physical, a lot more defense than Purdue showed. Times are going to get hard for Iowa State at some point. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Thursday, although I really do have great respect for Ben McCollum. I think he's going to have a great plan in place to try and neutralize whatever Iowa State's doing. I would have concerns if I'm Iowa of how am I going to put the ball in the bucket, especially when they're going to put Torrey right on Sturtz, and that's going to be a entertaining matchup right there. But I have no question Iowa defensively is going to give Iowa State maybe as many problems as Iowa State's received this year with what Iowa's going to throw at them.
There's no doubt that Bennett Sturtz is among the best point guards in the country. Like, if you're making if you're making a top 5 list, he's on it.
Yeah, I mean, again, listen to me. I'm not the biggest Iowa defender of all time. He's an NBA player. He could have gone to the NBA. Like, he's a legit NBA player. And so you can't just say, oh, he's on Iowa's. No, the guy's really good. And he can single-handedly keep them in this game. My concern for Iowa, though, is what else do they got? I mean, they're going to have some of their other guys make some shots here because Iowa State's going to do its number on Sturtz to try and take him away. They're not going to let him score 35.
Well, especially when last time out, they played preseason first-team All-American, thought by most was the best point guard in the country, and he was outplayed by Tamin Lipsey and Killian Torrey.
I mean, so Iowa State's, yeah.
I don't expect Sturtz to – like, Smith played pretty below his average on Saturday. Yeah. He made some incredible passes, but Iowa State was able to take him out of his rhythm. I don't know if I necessarily anticipate Iowa State forcing Sturtz to play that far below his average. If they do, you're looking at what Michigan has been doing to teams. Like,
yeah, it could get away.
If you're able to hold Sturtz to what they held Smith to on Saturday, that could be ugly. As far as the matchup goes, I anticipate a little bit what you were talking about earlier. Give it to Jefferson Buchanan. Iowa's bigs, to be just brutally honest, are still mid-major bigs.
They're light. They're a big dude. Yeah, they're just
like Cam Manyao's a good player.
Great player. I think he does great at what he does.
Fulgaris he's a very skilled offensive player. Those guys are not ready for Power 4 physicality as we saw in East Lansing a week ago. I think there's going to be a specific game plan early to feed Jefferson and get him a couple easy ones, put his shoulder into guys, and that's going to collapse the defense, and that's going to give guys like Milan, that's going to give guys like Heisey, Bateman, plenty of chances to beat you over the top. And I would anticipate that to be the game plan.
Yeah, Jefferson's the key piece here. It's you're going to really lean on him to start and see how Iowa wants to play it. Now, Iowa's going to have a good philosophy. They do a really good job of keeping things contained, and obviously they know what Iowa State wants to do as well. So I imagine it's going to be the chess match. If Iowa State gets it to Jefferson and Buchanan, Iowa really collapsing things to shut them down, and then can Iowa State make a shot? And it has for the last 2 weeks. So, but if I'm Iowa, I'm taking away the 2. Like I'm making Iowa State make a bunch of threes because otherwise Jefferson and Buchanan are just going to eat in there against the Iowa bigs.
And Sturtz isn't going to turn it over either.
No.
And here's the thing. It might be tough for Iowa State to turn Iowa over because Sturtz essentially dribbles at the clock for 22 seconds, and then they run their action. There's not going to be a lot of early shot clock turnovers. And if there is, it's because Iowa State's able to build a 15-point lead, and they really have no choice but to go do it.
Totally. Yeah, this is going to be a different game than Iowa State's really seen. Iowa's going to try and really milk it, and I think it's a smart. They know this has to be a low possession game for them, so you're going to see a lot of Iowa shots under 5 in the shot clock. A lot of times it looks like with them, Sturtz is just chucking, but it works. It works.
He makes a lot.
He makes a lot of them, man. Like I have great respect for that guy. I do, and I think it's gonna be a fun opportunity for that young guy too to play in Hilton. So Iowa State will be a 10, 11 point favorite probably on Thursday. I don't know if it's out yet.
Yeah, Ken Palm says 13. I would give it the rivalry bump down to 11 and a half.
Yeah, but I don't. Thank you, Aiden. I don't. I think this will be competitive. Like for those that just think Iowa State's just gonna, blow the doors off. Now maybe it's possible. It's just I think Iowa's gonna be really slow playing it to keep this thing into as low a possession as possible to keep it tight and then hope that Iowa State panics or something.
Okay, we're going to do our Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment in a second, but I got to share this Killian Torrey story that Otzelberger said in Tuesday's press conference. So me, you, C-Dub, we've talked at nauseum about the 2024 TCU game. I'm surprised that didn't get a chapter in Williams' book.
Yeah. The Kurt Jones, Keyshawn Gilbert coming out party.
Kurt Jones had been public enemy number one.
He
among
was
the Iowa State fan base.
Absolutely true.
He couldn't make a shot, but to his credit, he stayed on the floor by playing hard. Taman Lipsey, the team was struggling a little bit. Taman Lipsey's out with an injury, and TCU at the time was a top 20 team, if I believe, with Mike Miles.
Mike Miles, yeah. Yep.
And it was one of those games like, they got no shot. When Lipsey was out, Kurt finds it. Keyshawn kind of figures out how to take the wheel, and they play one of their best games of the season, and it really turned around that 23-24 season, which is one of my favorite Cyclone teams of all time. And we've talked about that game a lot, and I've come on here and said that it reminded me a little bit of that when Lipsey was out in Vegas, and it forces Torrey to have the attention on him and for him to take the wheels. I asked Otzelberger how many comparisons there were to that day, and his answer might surprise you a little bit.
The thing I'd say is like his consistency. When every time we've seen him out, it looks the same. Now, some games maybe that means 8 points, and another one it means 20. I don't know, but attitude, effort, mindset, mentality, body language, competitiveness. They've been so consistent, and so. You just know when people do that things are going to go their way. I think everybody's journey and their story is totally different. I think there were parts at the start of that, deal for Kurt where, the adjustment to this level and the physicality, and then you got to believe that you can do it. And as amazing as Kurt played for us at the end, I think everybody would say, there was some uncertainty if that was something that he could do at the start. I don't think we've had that question from Killian from the start. I think we've seen from the exhibitions to the first game, it's looked the same. It's looked consistent. It's looked confident. It's looked there's a toughness. There's an edge. And so, again, I know points is something that everybody else, is going to look at and say, well, he scored more in this game or scored more in that game. The guy's, he's as consistent as they come. He's going to make the right play. He's going to compete. He's going to chase down loose balls. He's going to guard the dribble. He's going to be a great leader. So I think he's proven, over the 11 opportunities in front of people that he's the same guy. It's just a matter of what are the opportunities that present themselves that night.
That's pretty high praise there.
Yeah, for TJ to say that, that's, yeah.
My jaw hit the floor when in the presser when he said that. What Torrey has meant to Torrey. Okay, I'm just gonna, like if I was writing a column, Torrey is the epitome of TJ Otzelberger era at Iowa State, where it's toughness, effort, defense first, and then offense comes along because of it. That's kind of what this era has been. He's right. Like that's why I said on this summer, I'm like, you guys, this Torrey guy's really good. Every time I'd go to practice, like, this guy just continues to get better. And now it's to the point where you got to keep him on the floor at all times because as TJ hit it on there, it's not just his value is not scoring. It's everything else, but because he does everything else so well, it leads to points. And that I can't say enough about how good that guy has been and what it's meant for Iowa State's not only ceiling, but floor too, because when you put Taman, Torrey, and Nate, and all of them. Even Milan's a better defender this year, by the way. Give that guy. That guy's worked on his body quite a bit. It's just, you just feel really comfortable with all the pieces Iowa State's throwing out there. And when Torrey's on the floor, like even towards the end of that Purdue game, he's still getting all up in the Purdue guards. And it's almost sometimes like, Torrey, it's okay, Killian. The game's over. Like you can let off now. And that never give in is what this program's all about. He is just becoming more and more of a fan favorite by the day. And I
crazy.
Cannot wait for him to experience Hilton at its fullest.
I don't think I've seen a player do this quickly. You know, as far as go from 0 to 100, even, I mean, you know, the Tyrese comparisons, but Tyrese wasn't doing this. He wasn't doing this. And that's, I just looked it up. That TCU game for Kurt, Jake, was January 20th.
Yeah.
Like it took him the majority of the year to get to that point. And here's Killian's, and TJ just said right there, Killian, without not putting words in TJ's mouth, Killian's ahead of where Kurt was when Kurt was a junior. That's basically what he said. Now, Kurt shoots the ball at an obnoxious rate, and he'll be in the NBA for a long time because of that. Different players. But as far as production, Torrey just is a game changer for this team. And he just fits perfectly with Taman, Joshua, Milan, the whole crew. Like I can't say enough about how these pieces fit together.
It's an exciting time to watch the Iowa State.
Well,
Cyclones.
I've been around Iowa State basketball for, I'm 41. I'm older than Mike Gundy was. I mean, I'm a man. So
I'm a man.
The Jamal Marcus team will always be the GOAT to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not saying this team's there yet. I'm saying this team has pieces that, in my mind, the ceiling could get to where that team went. Because there's some comps here. You got the Tinsley, Torrey, Lipsy, you got Jefferson, and you got Pfizer. You got the shooters like a Heisey and a Nurse and a Horton. There is this kind of the Shirley and the Buchanan stuff, the Rancic. Like, you can kind of see a little bit of a comp between this 25 years in the making here, but this team's deeper than that team was, and I'm really impressed with how the pieces fit together. But this team will be judged by how it goes through a tough time, and a tough time will come. You're not going undefeated, so how do they respond when things get hard? And, it's going to be hard on Thursday because I was coming to play. Iowa will absolutely test Iowa State on Thursday. Do not expect this thing to be whatever happened in Hilton earlier this year. This is going to be hard. This is going to be a hard game, and Iowa State's going to have to earn it.
It's also worth noting that at least the two game, I didn't watch Sturts a ton when he was at the Division II level, if at all. His two best games when I covered him at Drake, at UNI, which was the biggest crowd he'd seen in his life, and then the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
And, of course, the Missouri Valley tournament. He comes to play in the biggest games, and it'll come down, like you said, to his teammates and to how difficult can Torrey, Taman, Heisey, Bateman make life on him.
Yep. So I'm looking at a couple things. Obviously, I'd say the others. Sturts is gonna play well. I really believe that. It's just what do those other guys do, and then does Iowa have an answer with Joshua Jefferson? If Joshua's able to get his way, and get his way meaning just the playmaker he is, then this thing could get away from Iowa. If they're able to contain him, slow him down enough, and then Iowa State's a little more inconsistent from three, this thing could be a single-digit game going late in the second half. So it's going to be fun. Again, this is what I love about college sports, Jake, not to wrap this thing up, and again, I'm old and sentimental here. But when things get hard, and we had a hard week as Iowa State fans, there's always something coming up.
Yep.
You know, what's the three words about life? It goes on. Like, here we are. Things didn't stop. Things are going forward, and that's what we're all doing here. And to have these two games, and that game against Purdue after what happened Friday night, and to hear Taman even acknowledge that yesterday, saying, we knew Iowa State fans were going through a tough time. We wanted to do our part. I love that. And that's the coolest thing about college sports, is it really teaches you, is like, yeah, you can be down, you can be out, but guess what? You're going to move on, and there's going to be more opportunities ahead, and being up in Hilton this week is going to be healthy for everybody.
Let's do our Wiffles hybrid Big 12 segment real quick. A massive game on Tuesday night. Did you watch this? BYU Clemson.
Oh my gosh. What a ride.
22-point comeback by the BYU Cougars. AJ DeBanza looks like the number one pick in the draft in the second half. He scored or assisted on, it was, I believe, 38 of BYU's 45 points in the second half. And then it was Rob Wright who hits the game-winning buzzer beat three. Yep, the Baylor transfer. That was maybe the game of the year so far that I've watched in college basketball.
For sure, and credit to Clemson for getting up by 20 and then just kind of fell apart there.
It was, I believe they closed the half on a 22-0 run.
That was nuts. I did not expect that. I mean, Clemson's a nice program, so yeah, that was kind of a weird start for BYU, but that's superstar written for that young guy to do that in that spot in Madison Square Garden. My goodness, he's a big time player, and that's why I keep looking at this Big 12 between them, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas. By the way, is playing really good basketball right now.
Arizona.
So, my gosh, this is going to be a complete, just whatever you want to call.
Arizona fans were not happy with me on my top 25 that has no impact on anything.
They came after it?
I put Iowa State ahead of Arizona. I put
You
the disclaimer.
You don't have a vote, right?
I do not have a vote.
Yeah,
I wish I did.
Yeah.
I take this stuff really seriously. Like,
Yes.
I truly spend
I know.
2 hours every Sunday on it.
believe
I wish
you.
I had a vote. But I made the disclaimer that the top 4 teams, I think you can pick out of a hat and put in any order. Like, they all have incredible wins. They're all just destroying great teams. I just thought Iowa State winning at Purdue by 23, which nobody does, was the best win anybody has in college basketball other than Michigan beating Gonzaga by 40.
Yeah, and that was at a neutral site. So
Yeah, on a neutral site.
Again, Iowa State and Arizona will have plenty of times to comp.
March
good
1st.
wins.
I'll be
And
there.
It'll play it out anyway.
I'll be there
No.
out in Tucson.
That's the thing is, like, Iowa State's going to have some losses this year. Okay, it's coming. So how does it respond? But the Big 12 is going to be fun, man. Like, I am, for looking outside, and it's like this blizzard / snow, whatever, ground blizzard out there.
Yeah.
It is so important to me that Iowa State basketball is good in the winter, and I'm glad they are.
If they
Both
weren't,
sides.
I think I'd move.
I think I
I don't know
would seriously
how you
consider.
survive an Iowa winter without a good basketball program. I don't
Honestly-
know how I did it in the 2020 season.
Well, a lot of us struggled during the 2020-2021 season for good reason. We don't want that again. That's honestly, Jake, I say this selfishly, it's one of my bigger motivations for I want Iowa State basketball to do well, because if they're poor, it ruins my winter. Like, it's not, maybe that's dramatic, but it's true. Like, the joy that the basketball programs give when it sucks outside is something that can't be understated.
The warm building at the end of a cold parking lot.
It's
we'll
great.
see you all in Hilton
It's great.
Coliseum
Yeah.
Wednesday night and Thursday.
That's
Stay
gonna be-
warm.
It's gonna be man. I'm telling you, the 2 coldest places on the planet, allegedly. Siberia, never been there, heard things, and that walk from the parking lot at Hilton Coliseum's number 2.
I will say the walk from the hotel up at the Sanford Pentagon
Pretty
to the
chilly.
Sanford Pentagon felt comparable to Hilton
Okay,
Coliseum.
There you go.
Maybe we can ask Coach Rogers with his time in South Dakota. We appreciate everyone for tuning in here to the Northwest Bank Studios for Williams and Bloom on a Wednesday. We had a lot of fun. We'll have all of our coverage, Cyclone Fanatic, YouTube, the next 2 nights. We'll see you there.